everyone, this is Monica. Today we are going to have a little bit of a spa day, and I thought that I might try, since this is a relaxing topic, to speak in a little bit of a softer voice and post this as a type of ASMR video. Now, for those of you who may be unfamiliar with what ASMR stands for, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response. So what does all of that mean? Well, for me, in my personal experience, ASMR has helped me deal with insomnia. I really have a problem with being able to turn my brain off at a reasonable time at night. I also tend to work on the computer all day long, or strategizing, marketing, planning out classes. I teach jewelry making classes. A lot of my brain power is on all day long, even though I work at home. I don't typically have a lot of downtime where I might watch television or read a book. ASMR was something that I just stumbled upon when I was actually looking for a beading tutorial. I'm a jewelry maker, and I constantly am looking up different tutorials and project ideas, design ideas, partly because I want to improve my own skills, but then I'm also looking for ideas that I might be able to teach my students. That triggered, pun intended, an ASMR video. This has been probably, I want to say, about a year and a half ago. She was opening her beading packages that she had just received in the mail. I think it's Brittany ASMR. I'll leave the link down in the description. So I had no idea what I had clicked on. I didn't know what ASMR was. I was just looking for someone that had just released something to do with beading, and I saw what looked to be a recent haul video, which if you've never watched those are actually pretty relaxing as well, especially if you are a jewelry maker and you're watching someone tell you about all of the new sparkles that they just received in the mail. That's really what I thought it was. And when I clicked on it and she began to speak in whispers, I thought, why is she whispering? She was speaking slowly and very softly and taking her time with each individual package. Anything that was crinkly, like these gloves here. She would crinkle every little package. And here's some wax paper for you guys. So before I knew it, 15 minutes of my life had just flown by, and I was ready to go to sleep. The following day, I went onto Google and found out what that was. In doing so, I also discovered a wide variety of ASMR channels, ASMR artists who do content of a very relaxing, soft-spoken nature. Some of them to the point of doing crafty tutorials, beading hauls, things like that that I would enjoy as far as visually, not just for the soft tones and the whispers and the crinkles and whatever else. So that got me started into looking for specific content that would interest me craft-wise, but also help to relax me. I discovered that I actually had a wonderful feeling when I came across people who were brushing hair. And that personal attention was soothing. It was comforting. And so I have discovered that that is apparently the biggest, what is called a trigger, which is what gives you the tingles. If an ASMR channel is doing it correctly, you can almost feel the person whose hair is being brushed just sort of melt into their chair. And you get that feeling because of your memory, your sensory and tactile memory from the last time that someone may have played with your hair or brushed your hair. I do really enjoy the crafting type ASMR videos where someone may be working with scrapbook paper and they're running their fingers along the paper, or someone is crinkling paper or packaging or playing with beads, because I feel like I'm watching a like-minded person with their crafting supplies. They are being very calm when they speak, and it's almost like you're really taking time to enjoy your craft supplies. I know that there are some negative connotations out there, which is when I first researched this and I saw some of the ASMR video recommendations start to pop up in my YouTube feed, I was appalled because there are some very sexualized channels and artists that claim to be doing ASMR. If you actually listen to the good channels, people that started ASMR way back in the day, they explain that these sexualized ASMR channels are not giving you ASMR. They are doing something completely different for those that enjoy suggestive material, visual stimulation of a sexual nature. That is not true ASMR. I'm used to doing my craft tutorials in my regular speaking voice. When I get excited, sometimes I can speak loudly. So if that happens during the course of this video, I do apologize in advance. I have never made an ASMR video before in my life, so I'm probably not going to be very relaxing for some of you. This is just what I hear referred to when ASMR first started, your old school ASMR. So I don't have any special microphones or anything like that. Please bear with me, and I hope that you get some enjoyment from this. I have referred this topic and even some specific channels that I enjoy to some friends and family, and I haven't heard anything back from them, so I don't know that their experience has been the way that mine has been. I hope so. I hope they have found some sort of value in it. So ASMR is not for everyone. If you find that you struggle with stress, depression, insomnia, things like that, give that a shot and see. That might actually help you. On that note, today I need to make some shower steamers for a craft fair. Now, shower steamers are a little bit more fragrant than your bath bombs because there is more of the essential oil that is added into the mixture. That is because your skin will not actually be sitting inside a bathtub. You'll be standing in a shower, and the shower steamer will actually be off to the side of your main water stream to where it's just barely getting maybe splashed with some of the water from your shower stream. It activates the shower steamer and releases that nice fragrance while you're taking a shower. But if I go to make bath bombs, what's going to be different is the fact that I need to have some sort of oil to, one, help to bind my dry ingredients and everything, but also to add a moisturizing element for your skin, because at that instance, with a bath bomb, you will be submerged in a bathtub, relaxing, taking a nice long soak, and what you're sitting in does not need to be harsh onto your skin. So you don't want to overdo it with the essential oils, even the therapeutic grade essential oils. And then the other aspect to a bath bomb that you don't see here is Epsom salt. And the Epsom salt is good. It has a lot of healing properties. It helps with any soreness and swelling that you may have. So that's the difference between the bath bomb and the shower steamer. But first, since I'm not used to speaking in such a low voice, I'm going to have some Diet Coke. I'm going to actually share with you the recipe that I found online, and I'll also link the video where I got the particular recipe I'm using so that you can give her some support on her channel as well. I'm also going to have links to the various items that you see here that I may have purchased at Amazon. I did purchase these items for a better price and better quantity via Amazon than I would have gotten in the grocery store. I have a large glass bowl. I'm not really sure how many ounces that holds, but it's quite large. So when I go to bake a cake, this is typically the bowl that I reach for. I've got it sitting on some wax paper. And then underneath the wax paper, I just have an old cookie sheet. The reason why I have the wax paper is because the powders and the acid and all that stuff is going to have a mess, I'm sure. So that will help me as far as any kind of spillage or whatnot. I have some gloves. This is especially when I put the coloring into my mixture, and it's soap colorant, so it'll just wash off easily, but I thought that it would be nice to just use the gloves. I've got the molds. Obviously the silicone molds are in shapes like roses and hearts. I have some cornstarch, some citric acid, some baking soda, and I will have the essential oils and the soap colorant, and I'll also be using some water. In addition to the bowl and the baking sheets and the wax paper and gloves, I need to have something that I can do teaspoons and tablespoon measurements, and I happen to have this from the Dollar Tree. Because I'm going to have to do a tablespoon, but that is not marked here on this, I went ahead and marked the 3 teaspoon so that I know it's a tablespoon. I'm going to use a whisk. I've got a metal measuring cup that's in the size of 1 cup, and the essential oils. As far as the measurements of the ingredients, I am using a soap colorant that I ordered at Amazon. You can use food coloring if you do not want to use the soap colorant, but in the various videos that I have seen, a lot of people are using the soap colorant because food coloring, although it is washable, it can over time, if you use a lot of shower steamers, possibly stain your bathtub or your shower. And that's what it looks like. Now, it's not going to be dangerous to your skin or toxic as far as any kind of tools that you're using. That's why I'm using my kitchen utensils. If you are concerned at all about that, and maybe you just want to keep everything craft oriented separate from your kitchen utensils and things, then feel free. It's not the same as people that work with soap where you're dealing with lye. What activates the fizzy in the bath bombs as well as shower steamers is your citric acid. So when water hits something that contains citric acid, that's what creates that fizzing sound and everything. When you're in the process of making your shower steamers and your bath bombs, because some of your liquid will be activating the citric acid as you're stirring everything together, your dry ingredients with your wet ingredients, you're going to hear a mild fizzing. But as long as you're slowly introducing and incorporating a little bit of liquid at a time and then whisking, it's not going to completely activate to where that's wasted before you've even had a chance to form up. Some people actually will use rubbing alcohol in their recipes. I don't like that idea. I know that they say that the alcohol will actually evaporate as it dries, so it's not going to be anything that smells like alcohol, feels like alcohol, or anything like that. I just don't prefer to use that for myself, either in my steamers or in my bath bombs. The rubbing alcohol does not actually activate the citric acid the way that water in this recipe will. Also, for some people that might like to make the sinus shower steamers or bath bombs, you're going to look into menthol crystals And in that case, you might want to go ahead and use the rubbing alcohol, because the menthol is so strong that you only need a little bit of those crystals. Because the rubbing alcohol doesn't activate the citric acid, a lot of people will put the crystals into that little bit of rubbing alcohol, which lets the menthol crystals dissolve and then makes it easier to incorporate into their bath bomb mixture or their shower steamer mixture. So I need to get 8 ounces of citric acid, which is a cup. So here's 1 cup of the baking soda. I did have a little spill over here, so since I have that wax paper, I'm going to take that wax paper up and put the spillage in my bowl. So then that will hopefully make 2 cups of baking soda. Here's the cornstarch box open. And I will need 8 ounces of that. Give this a light toss here with just my spoon first. In order to try to control some of the dust, and then I'm going to move into it with my whisk. Is that even relaxing? I'm going to just take my metal whisk and do the same thing, but I'm whisking all of the dry ingredients just to where I don't see any of the lumps. I'm going to put my wet ingredients in my measuring cup, and I'm going to be working with my teaspoon/tablespoon since I have my marking here at the 3 teaspoon measurement. I'm going to need first to get 5 teaspoons of water. Now I need to get 1 tablespoon of fragrance. The fragrance amount is completely up to you in your recipe. Maybe you want a little bit less, maybe you want a little bit more, depending on the amount of smell, the type of fragrance, and the consistency in your product. If you are making these to sell, maybe you're making a larger batch and you decide that you're going to have more fragrance than 1 tablespoon. I am using 2 of my summer collection oils from Amazon. It's from P&J Trading, and they have really good quality essential oil fragrances. I have Ocean Breeze, and I wanted to incorporate just a touch of coconut, because when you think of summer vacations and beach, maybe you think of your suntan lotion. How you mix your fragrances is entirely up to you. It's pleasant for some aromatherapy in your shower for either male or female. I'm going to need my measuring spoon, and I'm going to set it for 3 teaspoon setting, which is 1 tablespoon. Now that is a lot of fragrance because these are little 1 ounce bottles. If I feel like the smell is fine before I reach 1 tablespoon between the Ocean Breeze and the coconut, I'm going to stop. It's a very light and pleasing smell, this Ocean Breeze. So if I use the entire tablespoon, I'm probably going to go through this entire bottle in just 1 batch. That's another reason why you may want to get larger bottles of fragrance if you are going to be making shower steamers quite regularly. Coconut and this Ocean Breeze smells nice together, but I'm not going to put as much coconut in as I did the Ocean Breeze. Okay, so that was 11 drops of the coconut. And I'm going to put more of the ocean breeze on top of that. My coconut disappeared, so I think I'm going to add a few more drops. That was another actual 12 drops of coconut. I wish I had smell-o-vision for you. I think in total I had about 22 drops of coconut, and then the rest of this is all that ocean breeze. And you notice I'm not quite to the full 1 tablespoon. I think that this is going to be strong enough for me. So I'm going to pour that into the water. For the soap colorant that I'm going to be using, I have fruit green and cornflower blue. I'm just going to drop mine straight into the metal measuring cup here. I'm going to do 3 drops of blue and then 1 green. Now this is the bit that's going to be tricky because of the citric acid. I'm going to need to slowly pour this liquid into my dry mix and whisk it. Eventually you're going to need to really get in there with your hands, and that is where your gloves come in handy. So you want to be sure that you have your clumps all broken up. Eventually you're going to get to the consistency of almost like a snowball. It smells wonderful. When you touch it, see how it's forming up like a snowball. Sprinkle some of your stuff into your measuring cup. Use that spoon to mix that up. That way, all of the cornstarch, the citric acid, and the baking soda, the dry ingredients, adheres to the leftover remnants of the oil and water and everything in that measuring cup. Then you can just simply pour it back into your bowl and mix that up. That takes out the remnant of the oily, smelly goodness and gets that into your bowl. Once you get the color that you like, which you might still decide that you want to use your drop maybe to get a little bit more blue. And see how that's activating the acid? Just get your hands in there. It's not staining my hands, so I feel okay as far as not using the gloves. I'm gonna put my hands in the water and kind of get that color off my hand a little bit. That should do it. That little bit of moisture on my hand is giving me the consistency now of what I need. Now is the chance to add a little bit more fragrance if you want. I think I'm fine. As you can see, that wax paper comes in really handy in order to keep your mess contained for easy cleanup. So you're just trying to pack the powder into your molds that you have. The longer that you wait, it starts to dry out really in about 30 minutes, especially on the outer side. I'm trying to get it as smooth as possible, even though that technically is the back side. If you use a standard silicone mold, heart shape, that's about the size of maybe a muffin, then you would get about 8 hearts out of that batch with the recipe that I gave you. Since I used the smaller tray, I've actually got 6 hearts that are about the size of a regular muffin, and then I have 4, 5, 6 smaller pieces. If you are trying to do this for shower steamers only and not worried about bath bombs, then you might want to actually go with the ice cube tray size. You can get these usually even at the Dollar Tree during holiday time, but I have a little bit of both, and this is my very first batch. I'm very happy with it. Hopefully they will dry out in the next probably 30 minutes. Once they dry out enough to where I can pop them out of my silicone molds, then I'll just let them continue to dry on the underside here on my baking sheet, or my cooling rack rather, until tomorrow when I can package them up. A lot of people will do their bath bombs where they will need to wait a full day, like full 24 hours, and that's because it has the oil and the Epsom salt in there, so the oil being in the mixture kind of takes it a little bit longer to dry. Now this has no oil in it other than the essential oil. The essential oil is such a small amount of oil that your shower steamers will dry out quicker than if you were making bath bombs. About 30 to 45 minutes while they are in the tray here, just with the air hitting these backside. And then if I feel like they feel pretty solid, I pick up the silicone. I'm going to go ahead and pop them out, turn them over so that they can dry on the other side. You don't even necessarily have to do that. A lot of people just leave them in the molds and they don't touch them for about an hour or two. Hello again everyone, this is Monica, and this is the second day. I have now taken all of my individual hearts out of the large pink container, and I'm going to individually wrap each of these large hearts so that I can put them into my packaging. I got these heart designed Ziploc bags at the Michaels. Just a standard sized holiday themed Ziploc bag. You can also get these at the Dollar Tree. Maybe not this particular design, but I have noticed that they are making the standard Ziploc size, not just the little treat size that I normally get for my jewelry. This paper came from a 6x6 paper pad. I just slipped that right down into my Ziploc bag without even having to cut it. Now what I'm planning to do is take 2 of my individually wrapped hearts, put them in the bag. Now label wise, I'm going to be using my own graphics with the ingredients as well as the scent that they are purchasing. And probably print them on sticker paper. I can cut out whatever I need. If you have a Brother Scan and Cut machine like I do, you will also be able to run that through and let it do all the cutting for you. Because it's in a Ziploc bag and each of these are individually wrapped in saran wrap, the scent will last longer. I hadn't fully thought this through yesterday as these were drying, plus I was teaching a jewelry class that night. So after about 30 minutes of letting them dry in the little trays, if you want to go ahead and take them out, put them in your saran wrap, that is perfectly fine, and you might have a little bit less breakage. On the next batch, which today I'm going to be making some that is a cedar wood fragrance, I'm going to give it about 45 minutes dry time today and then pop them out and move on to my next fragrance. So by the time I'm actually in the throes of making or actually finishing up my second fragrance today, the first one will be ready to take out of all the containers and individually wrap them up. I have some standard saran wrap here. There's a cutting blade right here. I just snap it off, and if I need to trim it down, I've got some scissors. But save your little spare bits, because in order to shrink this around your heart, you're going to be using either a hair dryer, or I already have a heat gun. This is by Doris. This is a heat tool, and I use this for my embossing. You just turn this on. It's a little bit more quiet than a hair dryer. It will heat up your saran wrap, and occasionally you might get a spot that becomes a little bit too hot if you're not keeping this moving around constantly as it's shrinking around whatever item that you're doing. That's where these little extra bits come in handy, because you can just lay that on top of whatever little hole happened. I think I had one right here. You can barely see that I've had to reapply some of the saran wrap, and then just apply the heat to it until it covers up that hole. I have some saran wrap pulled out from my container here. I believe this is probably about an 8x8 piece. kind of bumpy on the back, but it's smooth on the front. So now I'm going to go over here and heat this up. I usually start with the back side first since it's the most bumpy. To avoid having this extra bumpiness, just have a smaller piece of saran wrap. Instead of doing an 8x8, maybe do a 5 or a 6x6, and then that way when you're folding over your pieces you won't have as much left over. But I think this will be fine. As long as this is nice and smooth, this is what they're going to see in the packaging, and it's nice and smooth around the sides. On my smaller size shower steamers, I am using the little Valentine bags that I usually put my jewelry in when I send these off to customers if there's a holiday involved. I did need to cut some paper, so I'm just using the same 6x6 paper in the Valentine's themes that I was using for the larger, and I cut my piece down to 3.5 wide by 5.5 long. These will fit perfectly down in there. I am individually wrapping these smaller shower steamers, and it looks like I'm going to be able to still only fit 2 in these, so I'll charge less in my craft fair for the smaller ones. And here are the remnants that I had left over from packaging everything up, so I am going to turn on just a little bit of sprinkles here in my sink and let you enjoy the fizzy sounds. Smells like an ocean breeze with a hint of coconut. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this. Hi. Say hello, everyone. I want to smell like ocean breeze, yes.